Welcome to Global One Media Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Suardo. I'm speaking today with Joel Freudman. He's the CEO of TRU Precious Metals. They're a Canadian company that's prospecting for gold, copper, and other precious metals on an island off the east coast of Canada. And they've just signed a major deal with Eldorado Gold that is certain to provide a boost to their business. Joel, good to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Michael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
All right, so your company, TRU Precious Metals and Eldorado Gold, they've signed an options agreement that is potentially worth more than 15 million Canadian dollars. About 8 million of that is cash investment. The remaining 7 million is to directly fund exploration. Eldorado is going to be putting up the funds, and in return, it can gain an 80% stake in your company. Now, for those who may not know it, Eldorado is a pretty big player in the mining space. They have a market cap of more than 3 billion US dollars, as well as projects in Canada, Greece, and Turkey. Joel, some people might say it's a pretty big coup for a company like TRU to attract a big partner like Eldorado. So tell us, how did you do it?
So we're always very fortunate and pleased to attract a company of Eldorado's stature. It always comes down with a junior exploration company like this to project and people. And here we have the great Golden Rose project in the southwest of Newfoundland, which we've been telling investors about for years that we believe in. This really validates it to investors. Eldorado, as a large player in the industry, also saw what it is that we've been doing here at Golden Rose and the geological and discovery potential of the project and wanted to get involved. And in particular, this actually started all the way back at PDAC Mining Convention in early March, when through our project evaluation advisor, Garth Earls, he knew the VP of exploration of Eldorado, and so they just did an initial due diligence visit into our booth at PDAC. And since then, we've kept in touch and things have progressed since then, including very extensive technical due diligence. So it kind of starts with one meeting, but from there, it's a very rigorous process to kind of convince basically the other company that we're really onto something that has geological merit, discovery potential, and eventually, hope, significant return on the project.
All right, so you mentioned that Golden Rose project. You've been working on it for 4 years now. It's located near Valentine Lake in Central Newfoundland. And Eldorado Gold is essentially investing in this project with annual fund injections for the next 5 years or so. So what is it about Golden Rose, you think, that has attracted Eldorado's interest?
Well, bonanza grade gold sure doesn't hurt. We have very high grade gold on our property and channel samples. What that means is we have a high degree of confidence that there is high grade gold in parts of the property. And if you're a very large company, mid-tier producer like Eldorado, as you mentioned, they have producing mines, multi-billion market cap, huge company. They're looking for, frankly, early stage properties that can go on to become mines one day. They're not looking for something where you get one good drill hit. They're looking for, this company could have the mother lode, let's say, right? This could have an economically developable mine one day. And we're, although at quite an early stage, have that potential at Golden Rose where there is real discovery and development, and you hope down the road, production potential. We're not there yet, one step at a time, but they see, because of the high-grade gold on our property and where it's located and the fact we're beside Valentine Lake, as you mentioned, which is a 5 million ounce gold mine being put into production in less than a year, they see all the right ingredients are here around Golden Rose for us to have something very real on our hands. And I should add, we actually also have high-grade copper and drilling on our property. And a lot of the big gold companies are looking for copper for some diversified exposure to play the electrification of the economy, kind of the battery metals theme. So at Golden Rose and TRU Precious Metals, for us to have both high-grade gold and high-grade copper on the same project beside a 5 million ounce gold mine, what more could you ask for? And that's why Eldorado is joining us as a partner on the project.
All right, well, you got a great sales pitch, and I can see that you reeled them in, not just reeled them in, but you convinced them that you have a great project. You're going to continue to be the operator of that project. There's going to be a technical team, though, composed of representatives from both companies to review the project's progress and how the funds are spent. Joel, the total value of this deal is actually several times higher than your company's market cap. It's also significantly higher than your cash on hand. So tell us, the impact this is going to have and how you're going to use these funds.
I mean, as you mentioned, the deal value, top line and total, is a $15 million investment if Eldorado proceeds through the process, all the way to option exercise. And as you mentioned, our market cap is 5 million, of which 2 million is cash. So the deal value is a significant multiple of our current market price. We hope that the market will start to appreciate this that the project really has substantially more value than we're being valued at in the market. It is an option agreement, so it does go year by year, where each year Eldorado pays us additional cash and they fund more and more exploration in the project. I think what investors should really be paying attention to here is this is your green light. A company like this coming in is clear evidence that we're onto something with as much potential as you could ask for at this stage. And we're on the cusp of blowing the project wide open with the technical expertise, like you mentioned, the technical committee, as well as the funding and the general experience that a large player like Eldorado brings. And so with them at our backs, as well as helping us fund the company, and more importantly, funding and directing exploration, which we will carry out through our team in Newfoundland, it's kind of an ideal situation to leverage to make sure this project is done the justice that it deserves. And I should also note on the operator side, we're constantly looking at how we might grow the team and add additional technical bench strength to TRU in order to facilitate significantly larger exploration and drilling programs coming up in the near future, including over the coming quarters.
All right. So, Eldorado is bringing money to the table. The payments are staggered over 5 years, and it's backloaded, so the bulk of the investment is likely to be near the end of that time frame. In addition to financing, what does this options agreement mean for TRU Precious Metals?
Financing a junior company, as you mentioned, always nice. The exploration spending, if we were independently funding the advancement of the project, it would likely be dilutive on an ongoing basis. I think what investors should take a lot of comfort from here is with TRU having some cash coming in to offset general G&A of a public company, as well as Eldorado funding exploration programs, TRU shouldn't have to dilute very much from here. Great position to protect the existing shareholders' interests and ownership percentages. And in addition, as we both touched on, a company of Eldorado's size, scale, experience, they operate multiple mines globally producing gold. This is a company that has the resources and technical capabilities to really see a project from start to finish. And with Golden Rose, where they have identified a project closer to the start than to the finish, which means there's tremendous runway ahead, they're going to be involved very hands-on, technical committee meetings, providing technical expertise so we can run the most targeted, effective exploration programs going forward, drawing on, again, the resources of a much larger player than us. And I should also mention, we also have Altius as one of our large shareholders, TSX listed. They also provide technical expertise, as well as Eric Sprott as our third largest shareholder, who also provides some kind of capital markets and mining connections. So we really have a stacked institutional shareholder base and partnership base, as well as our strategic investor arm on mining, who I mentioned at the start. We kind of have all the right players rallying around the project. And what I think is valuable for investors to take away, among other things, is you have an industry player like Eldorado, massive company coming in to partner with us on the project, and a heavily institutional shareholder base. If you're not so sure about what to do in the sector, follow the smart money. And I've just rhymed 4 massive players, all involved with TRU Precious Metals in our gold project. Follow the smart money, do what they're doing.
All right, that's a good explanation. I like that. Follow the smart money. I think it's also worth pointing out that if TRU discovers metals aside from gold or copper on the Golden Rose property, specifically if you discover zinc or nickel, the proceeds from that discovery largely belong to TRU, not to Eldorado. Let's take a look now at your stock. Shares of TRU Precious Metals have been in a pretty big slump since the pandemic. Joel, is this deal the spark that's going to turn your share price around?
Sure. We're subject to the same, economic and market conditions that the rest of the juniors are, which is kind of unavoidable. We have a number of differentiators that set ourselves apart, and this should very much be catalytic and an inflection point for the company. As you mentioned earlier, we have $2 million of cash in the bank. So we're very well capitalized already, when most companies, unfortunately, don't have money to, do any exploration or kind of pay any of the general public company costs. But in addition, like I mentioned, the technical expertise that Eldorado will bring will allow us to advance the project much more aggressively and rapidly. And as we get consistent news flow, investors will have news flow discovery results to look forward to. Plus, we're going to have an entirely new set of eyes on us, probably Eldorado investors and people who would look at the large companies saying, why did Eldorado get into this company? At least I've watched this interview with Michael and Joel, and now I know why. I should probably be following TRU as an interesting company. And I would think that over time and in the near term, that is reflected in the share price trajectory of a company on the path to discovery of much larger things than are currently known at the property.
Joel, thanks for walking us through the details.
Thanks everybody for watching. Keep an eye on us.
We've been speaking with TRU Precious Metals CEO Joel Freudman, and you've been watching Global One Media's Stocks to Watch. I'm Michael Suardo.